stand to start with. I may sit over here. Hi. Hello. If we've not met before, my name is Jack Cornfield, and I am one of the grateful followers of Ajahn Amaro. So, except I'm not going to follow you all the way to England, bid you adieu, or whatever one would say. Cheerio, thank you. Bid you cheerio. That's right, you've got to learn English again, don't you? Oh, please, venerable sir, place your... so we can hear your wit. As I've said to Ajahn Amaro, it's going to be it's going to be difficult for our community here at Spirit Rock and more broadly to not have your presence and all the gifts that you offer and have over these years. And even though I'm sure you will have great adventures, and you have offered so much here, we will sorely miss you. And I certainly will, personally. And I would like to offer to you this red book, the second version, which is filled with photos and stories and blessings and various tributes that people in the community have been writing over the last few weeks. The only one that I'll speak of is the one that I wrote in there, because when our joint collective teacher, Ajahn Chah, first came to the U.S. In 1979 and visited this center we have in Massachusetts, Insight Meditation Society, while we were having a 10-day or 2-week retreat and offered teachings. We brought him over to Spencer Abbey, which was a very large Trappist monastery nearby. The abbot of Spencer Abbey was a man, Father Thomas Keating, who is one of the great Catholic mystics in the country and a beautiful being. And some of the monks from Spencer Abbey had come over to study mindfulness meditation at IMS, at our center. And so when we arrived in the courtyard, there was Thomas Keating, this very tall, elegant man dressed in kind of penguin-colored black and white robes. And Ajahn Chah, who was several feet shorter, it seemed, and stout with his ochre robes, walked up to him, a little bit older than he too, and looked at him. All the monks were around watching, and said, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." And Keating was rather perplexed by this. I was translating. What kind of greeting is this? So sorry. And then he turned around to the whole crowd of monks who were there, and he said, "This man is your abbot. You have no idea how much trouble you give him and how difficult it is to be an abbot, and I'm really sympathetic for him, so you should treat him well." And by the end of this, Keating is just grinning from one ear to another. So I wrote in Ajahn Amaro's book, "I'm so sorry. So sorry for you."
I feel your pain.
What we'd like to do for this time is to make an opportunity for those of you, many of whom have been students and received teachings, blessings, and so forth from Ajahn Amaro, either to make offerings, and in particular also if there's anything that you wish to say that as a way of speaking to or with Ajahn Amaro before he makes his departure across the pond to become the great abbot in England, or whatever. Or whatever, right? But it feels actually quite important. I know you've all had the pleasure of the day together with him, but I also know that some of you are very, very deeply connected and appreciative, and so there's both time for offerings or words as you wish. And I can bring the microphone to you, or if someone wants to come up, both are fine, as you like. And if you hold the microphone, do it a little bit like an ice cream cone, relatively close, and it will work well.
I want to thank you for a teaching I got from you last year, here, same solstice day, about moving from contention to consenting to contentment. It has stayed with me ever since. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for a lot. But the last time you were here, you taught about I'm right, you're wrong. And
I'm still right. And you're still wrong.
That's okay. I'm a lay person. I get to be wrong. And it has helped me so much in my custody issue around my son. And it's just so personal and so charged. And being able to step back out of that place of wanting to fight has helped me immeasurably. And I'd like to thank you for a lot of things, but I won't. Thank you.
I've really been touched. At first, when you first came, I thought, who is this odd guy? And I really got, it wasn't the words. I mean, the words are beautiful, and there's so many wonderful teachers here who have words of wisdom and insight. But it was your being. It was the nature, the quality, each moment of the joy, the presence, the intellect, the clarity, the groundedness. Just, I'll miss having what is it, a role model or someone who's really embodying the Dharma, and so I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
Teacher, we first met in a Zen place at Tassajara, and it's been a delight to renew our acquaintance in the Bay Area. And while I have absolutely no authority to do so, I thank you because, as we touched on earlier today, your presence at Tassajara, your presence with other members of our San Francisco Zen Center and Everyday Zen community is very meaningful, and your heart and your wisdom and your laughter and your good spirit and your presence has meant a great deal for a great number of us Zen folks. And I know I'm so joyed that your stitches sit with me on my left arm. And I will come and see you in England, or look forward to seeing you here as well. Thank you so much.
This is hard for me. As you mentioned earlier, we go back quite a ways. And I was just sitting back there thinking, well, think of some funny story you can tell that you know from the monastery. And all I could come up with was never follow a monk up a ladder. I think we were putting sheetrock on the inside of the Dhamma hall or something like that up on the ceiling. Anyway, but what I really hold from my time with you is your incredible consistency and kindness, lack of negative judgments, compassion, and just your ability to hold a situation with such spaciousness and love that has really changed my life in a lot of ways. Thank you.
I'll remember that about ladders in future.
So before the next few speak, please come up. I just want to invite everybody to take a breath and feel the gratitude and the emotions and the, it's said in the Buddhist tradition that one of the things that's really good as you get to major change points in your life, including right before death, is to reflect on the blessings of your life or good moments or things that are beautiful to kind of bring to heart and mind those qualities that are joyful and illuminated and free or compassionate. And in some way, in the tribute, this is also bringing into our hearts and minds those sobanajittas, those beautiful states that Ajahn Amaro really represents for so many people here. So.
I just wanted to thank you for coming and going to family retreat, because I've been going ever since I can remember, and you've been at a lot of them. And well, I remember first at the campfire how wonderful you are at storytelling, and also you can make it interesting for us to listen to teachings, and you can put them into stories. Because a lot of the time we're not that interested sometimes. And you can put it into stories, and it's more fun. And then you get the idea, the concept. So I just want to thank you for that.
We were really sad to hear that you were going to England, and yet also happy for you as well. You've been a great blessing to our family, to our child, to our spiritual development. What I was reflecting upon over the last couple of weeks was the breadth of skill and capacity an individual must have to have this deep practice and manage a monastery and all of the people and personnel and challenges that go on, as well as the intellect to write all the books that you write. And it is, as Jack said, upon this departure that I reflected back on the vast gift you've given us and how grateful I am. And we've already decided as a family we're going to come visit you.
I don't think I have much to add to that, except just thank you from me personally for the gift of your presence and your practice and everything that you've given to our family and to all of the families here at Spirit Rock. Thank you.
Come to the family summer camp at Amaravati. It's been going since 1984, every summer. I'll make sure there's a place for you.
You have an in with the abbot. That's right.
Renata and I want to come up and thank you for all the years of teaching and support that you've given us. But there's another aspect that you may not be aware of, and I've reminded you, but you may have forgotten. You're also a very good matchmaker. This is not a usual monastic role, but Renata and I actually met just over there about 11 years ago, and we ended up getting married the next year, and came up to the monastery for the blessing. And so thank you for bringing us together, as well as for all those years of practice and teaching. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you, too. You have changed my life in many, many ways.
Yes, well, we have these interesting effects on each other.
Yes.
So I'm not sure whether the day long was on loving kindness or on aging, sickness, and death.
I don't remember.
But I'm glad it served you to bring you together, and that you've had such a rich and fruitful relationship together, supported each other very well over all these years. So.
It was the day long just before Ajahn Sumedho came and spoke at the City of 10,000 Buddhas. Do you remember that? It was about...
I've done a lot of day-longs.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've studied Buddhism a long time. You're the only teacher I've been able to ask questions of. You're so available, and I so appreciate that.
Thank you for your many gifts. It's been wonderful having you in my life. And I just remember about a day long, and having meditated before that, and then coming here, and I always heard this sound in my mind, and I thought, I'm never going to get it because there's no stillness there. And I just remember you saying, when you actually are still, you hear this swishing, and it sounds like the planets. The sound of planets swooshing. And so, I look up at the night sky and I often remember that. And and I think of you. So, and we will share that night sky still. So thank you.
It was 2002 when I first started working here at Spirit Rock, and I didn't know anything about Buddhism. I just had started here, coming to the Monday nights, and volunteered, and then started working. And you were the first monk that I'd ever met, and I had no clue whatsoever how to act or what to do, and I was just really nervous. And it's nice to hear today that you also were a gut fear guy. We have that in common, and I'm watching that right now. But I'm just so glad that you were the first monk that I met. And I remember one time that I offered to give you a ride whenever you needed one. And then late one night, I get a call from the retreat manager saying that your ride had gotten sick. I think it was Robert had gotten sick, and that you needed a ride, and could I do that? And I asked, well, sure, what time does he need to go? He goes, well, he needs to be at the airport at 6 a.m. I was like, okay.
Those
all right.
monks.
And I was living up north at the time, so got up early, came down. We had the usual mist and fog. Drove my little Geo Metro up here and parked by the gate and rolled the windows down and just waited. And I hear this squeaking sound coming closer and closer, and I look to the right, and out of the fog, here you come, carrying your airline baggage behind you, squeaking along. And I just, your grace and your humor and your wit has always inspired me. And when I found out that you were going to be leaving, even though I haven't seen you very often lately, it felt as if a leg of the tripod had been knocked away. And it really gave me something to look at, what am I leaning my life on? And a friend had also died recently that was also a pillar at the time. So it was a really strong question. So I thank you for that teaching as well. It's like Jack was saying, when these things happen, we look back and see what we're grateful for. And just that teaching as well, I appreciate, what am I basing my life on? And I do thank you so much for helping me get this far. And just knowing that you were there was so helpful. And I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much.
So I was in my 20s, living in Portland, Oregon, and part of a little sangha when we had a monk come and visit us, and it was you. And I believe it was your very first time to the United States. And I remember you sitting in the room of this house. It was a beautiful house, and there were only about maybe 10 of us practicing with you for the weekend. And there was this golden light coming in the window behind you, and I was sitting directly in front of you like I am now, and you were sitting in front of this golden light that was streaming in, and the light was shining through your ears.
As it does.
And me in my 20s staring at you thinking, who is this monk? Who is this man with the gold light shining through his ears? And I have been most honored to have received many, many of your teachings over 20 years. You've been a bright and shining light in my life. I'm actually quite mad at you for leaving. And I still can't believe it, actually. And then this winter, I spent the winter at Amaravati, and it was very, very cold. And I was actually very miserable. I was quite depressed. And Sumedho wasn't there. And I was walking around thinking, oh, this place could just fold. There's no leadership. There's, it's cold and miserable, and people are complaining, and, I'm just miserable. I want to go home to California. And then very, quietly it was announced that you were coming. And my mind, the perception of the place, it was just phenomenal. It was a phenomenal teaching for me to see, well, this place isn't so bad after all. It was like roses were coming up through the snow. So I wish you the best, Ajahn. Thank you.
The effect with my ears has been noted before.
Isn't it one of the great marks of an awakened Buddha to have great ears?
Hi. I remember reading in your biography that you were a surfer, and were on the beach or something. Did you ever surf?
I didn't surf. I've been on many, many beaches.
Okay, so maybe that was the reference. Well, pretend you're a surfer for.
Okay.
Because this is the gratitude. Well, when I thought you were a surfer, I had this sense of there's a sense of joy in you, and an openness and a spaciousness that I find in the ocean when I surf. And I always thought, I don't think I could access it if I didn't have the ocean. But I feel like sitting with you has shown me that it's not the ocean. And I just feel like it's encouraging that I can find joy and happiness that isn't based on being at the beach or causes and conditions. And I want to thank you for that. And also, you told me once when I was struggling with kind of staying open, staying in there, you just kind of said, don't worry about what people think. You got to get over that. Don't. And of course, I've heard that my whole life in different places, but all of a sudden it was like, well, if you're saying that that's okay, then that's okay. You pointed me towards my own wisdom, and whatever you're doing, look inside for the permission to your own wisdom, not in the book that I was looking for or permission. And that's something that I go back to when I make a decision. And I know that it's right for me in the moment. And I just see you saying, don't worry about what people think. You got to get over that. And it's like, oh, okay, thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
I'm relatively new to Spirit Rock, and you were one of the first teachers I came to see about 1.5 years ago. And I did my very first drawing of you, and I wanted to tell you, for one, that my drawings have gotten significantly better. And I also wanted to thank you. I think maybe the next time I saw you, I asked if I could take a picture of you. And I had you stand up against the wall, and I said, "Now, give me your wisest look." And you just gave me a great big smile, and I thought that was one of the great pithy teachings that I've received. So thank you.